All right. Greetings. Welcome back to Black Bear News, where everything is connected. Yes, I know the sound is a little bit different today because I'm doing this from another location, as you can see. So, but we're just going to jump into it. Sound issues, regardless. We're using computer sound. What are we talking about today? We're talking about the sunk cost fallacy. And I just want to bring you a couple examples of that. We'll talk about what is the sunk cost fallacy. Many of you know already. Hi. Getting sound already.
If you're a human being.
Hi. Getting sound already. From things we don't want to get sound from, that's okay. We're just winging this, guys. We're just making this happen. Before we get into what Just Have a Think has to say about fossil fuel cells, well, let's get into it. Let's get into this right away, because I don't know if you all know about this channel. Just Have a Think. It's a great channel. The guy has really great production quality, and he has a lot of followers. He has a lot of viewers. I appreciate the professional level of his work. He does seem to be, I think he clearly resides in the technology is going to pave a way forward for human beings on the planet. He's still, he's very technologically minded. He's a very intelligent person. Knows very well about the things that he speaks on. And I'm quite informed by all his videos. And this was an informative video. He was talking about a company who was making an alternative to PFAS materials, right? Materials that are made with PFAS or forever chemicals. And there is a company, he highlights a company and a method in which you can make the same materials with cellulose basically from wood fiber. And which sounds really great. I mean, technology, amazing. I love technology. Let me tell you, I love technology. Technology has enabled me to have a music career. Technology it enables me to do this show. Technology enables me to do all kinds of things that I probably wouldn't be able to do, how to not be where it's at today, right? So technology, super awesome. But the premise of this video is that, we're going to keep manufacturing products and all of these things that, make our lives better, right? It's just switching one thing out for another, right? And the long-term implications of switching out. Let's see if I can get a different view of this here. The long-term implications of switching out, one product that's better for the environment than another product that's clearly horrible for the environment is going to enable, it's just going to be, that's just a step forward. It's just an assumption that a revolution in technology is going to be a step forward for humans, and that's going to be a better answer, and that it's all, and we just need to get rid of PFAS chemicals, and we need to we're going to legislate them out of existence, and they're not good for us, and it's but they're still in use, and they're still in the environment, and when is this ever going to stop? And he does admit at one, sounds like a bureaucratic nightmare. There's that we're going to still struggle to get rid of these things, and and his answer is, well, but if there's an alternative that's better for the environment, then We can go forward with that. Again, how long is that process going to take? How long, what was the process for taking lead out of a lot of the materials that we used? Uh, it took a long time for people to even recognize that lead was uh, pervasive everywhere on the planet, and that it was causing harm to humans, long-term harm to humans. Having it in all kinds of materials like paint and gasoline and everything was detrimental to life on the planet. And it took us a really long time to get rid of those things. And, that's just one small part of the equation of what technology has brought us all these lovely chemicals that seem to be doing a really great job of slowly destroying and decaying life on Earth. So from a bigger picture, you might want to look at it in a different way. But the point of this video is that we're really human beings are suffering from the sunk cost fallacy. You all know what the sunk cost fallacy is. We're going to go through it. This is a description from Investopedia. The sunk cost fallacy. And let me put it up on the screen for you. We do, even though this video is not live, I'm doing this live, so we do it live. What is the sunk cost fallacy? Let's get down here. The sunk cost fallacy is the improper mindset a company or individual might have when working through a decision. Fallacy is based on the premise that committing to the current plan is justified because resources have already been committed. This mistake may result in improper long-term strategic planning decisions based on short-term committed costs. What about long-term committed costs? I mean, I think that could even include, something that you've been investing in for a really long time, but it doesn't work anymore. Imagine a non-financial example of a college student trying to determine their major. A student may declare as an accounting major only to realize after 2 accounting classes that this is not the career path for them. Right? The sunk cost fallacy would make the student believe committing to the accounting major is worth it because resources have already been spent on the decision. In reality, the student should only evaluate the courses remaining and courses required for a different major. I mean, another sunk cost fallacy could be holding on to things that don't work anymore, or that you don't use, or right? We have like garages full of old appliances, that we don't no longer use, or maybe no longer work. Old computers, old furniture, 8-track tape players, things that we're never going to use again. And maybe they have some emotional, this is a big part of the sunk cost fallacy, is that there's an emotionality to it. There's an emotional tie to it. And obviously human beings are emotional creatures. And what would human beings be more emotionally tied to than the idea that, human beings, what we do is always the best thing. We always do the best thing. We're just trying. We're just humans. We're just trying to work it out here on planet Earth. And, mostly what humans do is, super cool, like, because we have all this technology, because look what we built, look what we've done. I don't want to be too negative. I'm actually not trying to be negative about humans and what we've accomplished and what we could accomplish or what we can accomplish. I just think that we're on the wrong path, right? We've made the wrong choices, and we stick to those choices because we think that that giving up the path that we're on would somehow be disastrous, right? Excuse me, I'm getting text messages. Sorry for the interruption. Anyways, let's go on about sunk costs. Sunk cost fallacy psychological factors. There's 5 common explanations as to why the sunk cost fallacy exists. Here are the psychological reasons that explain why some decision-making processes fail. People may prefer to avoid a loss over an equivalent gain. These people are unwilling to commit to a guaranteed loss due to their low risk tolerance. And humans don't like risk, right? We like to be safe. We like to be comfortable. All else being equal, some people have a tendency to avoid losses as opposed to seek gains. Commitment bias. People may stick to a plan because that was simply the original plan that was made. A project is given preferential treatment for no other reason than it was what was originally decided upon. Waste avoidance. People may want to avoid wasting company resources. Unfortunately, especially in research and development, not all opportunities pay off, as due diligence spending may lead to nowhere. Personal decision making. People feel emotionally attached or responsible for a specific project or decision. This creates an emotional bias that may turn the that the project may turn or the data may be incorrect. We don't want to be wrong. That's also a sunk cost fallacy, right? That we hold on to an idea, we hold on to a belief system, we hold on to a form or course of action because we just don't want to be wrong. We can't admit it's very different. There are songs written about this. Countless songs I can think of where people have a hard time admitting they're wrong, because you are committed to your course of action. You're committed to the thing that you said. You're committed to your stance, because admitting you're wrong looks like weakness, and we don't want to look weak. People are unfamiliar with the idea that actually admitting you're wrong is a strength, or maybe that sometimes showing weakness is actually could be a strength, even though it's perceived as weakness. And humans, they operate how they operate, right? And all politicians have to project strength. All leaders have to project strength. It's just a thing, right? Projecting strength, being strong, it's a human idea that we cherish, we hold up, we support, we follow, we love when people are strong leaders, showing strength. America, showing strength going forward. Projecting strength into the globe. That's what we do. But sometimes actually, there's I think psychology, philosophy, and even, and just plain old human experience can show you that sometimes allowing yourself to be vulnerable, or allowing yourself to show weakness, or allowing yourself to be wrong is actually the right decision, right? Making a pivot. Saying, no, that wasn't the way to go. That I was incorrect. I messed up. I'm gonna, I think it's a good idea to start embracing, as humans, as a collective, embracing the idea that maybe we don't have to project strength all the time. So I think, what's the point of this whole video? What's the point of my thesis here? We're really still holding on very dearly to the idea that humans are always doing the right thing. That humans have humans are going to have the answer. Humans are even good stewards of the planet. I mean, I'm tying this into climate change, and I want to show another story here of why we hold on so dearly to these sunken costs, the sunken costs of human progress, the sunken costs of human ingenuity, the sunken costs of human technological prowess, I guess you would say. Jeff Berardelli post, and to Jeff's credit, he understands that what he's saying isn't isn't really a great answer. Let's see if we can see this a little bigger. I don't know. Jeff posts about these are king tides in West Palm Beach. Now you know what king tides are. Well, king tides are very large tides, but because of sea level rise, and yes, sea level rise is a thing that is happening. You can see it right here, right? It's happening. It's happening. It's happening right here. So, to all the people that want to delay, deny, and denigrate people that think that the climate is changing or things are happening. I don't know. How do you explain this away? I don't really understand how you explain it away. King tides are a thing that are happening all over the planet. Why are they happening? Because the sea level is rising. Because ice is actually melting. Sea levels are actually rising, and you can see the knock-on effects of this in things like king tide. King tides are happening in Hawaii. They're washing out the King Cam Highway in Hawaii. They're happening all over. They're happening in California too, right? In Newport Beach, at Balboa Island, and San Diego, there are stories about king tides coming up and pretty much flooding out the area. So this is happening on a regular basis in Miami, and in Palm Beach and places in Florida where now they have regular occurrences of king tides that happen when it's not rain induced, it's not flood induced, it's not storm surge, it's just high tide. The tide is higher, the sea level is higher, and now the water comes in where it used to not come in before because the sea level is higher, and there's no evidence that the sea level is going to quit rising. There's no evidence the sea level is going to quit rising. The only way to solve this is the event frequency will increase 20 times by mid-century. He's telling you this is going to keep happening and get worse. Is to raise the roads, install pumps like Miami Beach has done. It's costly but necessary. He's saying it's costly but necessary. Is it necessary? And is it even a good idea? I asked him this. Is it even not only is it necessary, but is it even a good idea to raise the roads and install water pumps and spend all this capital, spend all this energy and this money? Money represents energy. Spend all this capital on continuing the idea that people are going to live in this area and do business as usual. Isn't it? I'm just proposing that it might be a smarter investment, or in the future, to realize that this is not going to happen. This is going to be an area where people are not going to be able to live anymore. Not only that, the value of the property is going to go down to zero at some point. It's going to be uninsurable. You're going to have so many factors involved here, and this is you're looking at a future ghost town. And I don't know how, even if you invested all this money in raising the roads and pumping water out of the area, how long is it? He says that Miami bought themselves 40 years. Okay. That might be a very optimistic view on how long Miami has as a city, because if insurers leave, if property values plummet, if people try to start selling their property while it still has some value, and my God, if you live in the area, what are you doing? If you aren't selling your property right now, What are you doing? This is not investment advice, by the way, but I'm just saying, if you see the writing on the wall, if you can see where the trend line is going, and it's an obvious trend line, if you can see these things are obviously happening, do you think some kind of insane seawall project is going to save your property value? And then you're not even counting in, we're just talking about high tides. We're not even counting in, disasters, major disasters that might hit the area that would raise the sea level even more, right? Storm surge, hurricanes. What's the likelihood in the next 10 to 20 years that not one but several disasters, wipe out infrastructure here and get too costly to rebuild? And then there's your, he does admit, lower down in the post, he says, people start asking him, like, what's the point of this? And he says, well, they're shared local spaces. Okay, I get you are, again, Jeff, just as the, and I'm sorry for not knowing what the man's name on that does Just Have a Think is. What's wrong with me? I'll find it in a moment. My bad for not knowing this gentleman's name. They're operating under the sunken cost fallacy of, humans have created this system, have created this whole thing, and I think both Jeff and Just Have a Think understand that, the underlying, one of the largest underlying causes of climate change or destruction of the planet is technology itself. And though we have accomplished a lot, though we've developed a lot technological wise, we've really created like some really wondrous things. I think we have to really look at the idea that technology is also the cause of the problem, and how do we go forward developing technology that isn't destructive by the very process that it takes to create the technology, and B, is it fostering more destruction, right? Because that's the thing. Technology has allowed us to, explode our population, explode our consumption. Technology the infrastructure itself is the thing that allows more destruction, right? More technology to be driven, driven to the points at which it can create more destruction, more havoc on the planet, right? So we have to realize, like, the way in which we are using the technology is destructive as well. So how is it that we can develop? I think we're just not, our viewfinder, or the way that we look at what we do in the planet, and what we're still thinking like in these small increments of time, and these very answering immediate problems with the obvious thing at hand. Hey, how about some more technology? Let's just we have all these tools. Let's just grab all these tools. Let's develop more tools. Tools are great. We love tools. I think in a video a few weeks ago, I was saying that someone, Jacinda Ardern, was talking about tools to fight misinformation online, right? Because she categorized misinformation as a weapon, but what we use to fight the weapon, are tools. They're not weapons, right? But we look at technology as a tool. Consider if animals and plants could talk to us, if they would consider the things that we use tools or weapons. To the natural world, our technology is a weapon because it is deadly. and the way that we use these things end up being quite deadly, toxic, destructive, deadly weapons. So how do we use technology in a way that doesn't make it a deadly weapon? We're wielding a deadly weapon, you know. Anyways, these are my thoughts. Sunk cost fallacy. Doing a Trump thing here. I'm sorry. And I just want to make this video for you guys today to peruse, and I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. And I'll be back tomorrow with another upload and or a live stream, and we'll have another talk on some other subjects. But let me know what you think about this, and thanks for listening. Peace out.